Good evening, sir, and sorry for the delay. I made you wait a lot. Sorry for that. And I would like to thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule for coming to this session. It is really a great honor for us for such a notable person visits our conference. Thank you very much for coming here, sir. And so since you have done a lot in the field of AIDS, but we are not going to discuss it, we are here for discussing COVID, which has engulfed the whole world. So, sir, the people would like to know how they can stay safe during the COVID. What are the measures they are required to take? So, we would be happy if you throw some light on that.
Now, who would like to know? Teachers or students or family?
Everyone, because there is the confusion between the students also who want to go abroad. Because certain countries have opened, like Ukraine, many countries have opened the flights, but there is some kind of, what should I say, doubt inside the student. There is some scarcity and fear is there, whether they should go or not. If they go, what are the measures they are required to take? The teachers, if they want to open their schools.
You see, currently the atmosphere to travel is not so ripe, whether people coming from anywhere to India or India to anywhere else, except when it is some medical emergency or something which is very urgent, which you cannot avoid. Secondly, if at all you have to go, currently what we see from the numbers and from the infectivity or infection rate or number of cases per million population, East is the best. East means Vietnam, uh, Cambodia, Thailand, or Taiwan. Their infection rate is very low. They are as low as 17 per million, 21 per million, or 22 per million, or even China is 52 per million, whereas India is about 6,800 per million. And there are countries in the Middle East like Qatar, 50,000 per million, or UAE, or are there, and infections are still coming day in and day out. So unless and until it settles down, number two, again it will be policy of that country where you are going. In some places, they say you have to be in quarantine for 14 days. At some places, like in Hong Kong, they say you will be tested on arrival. Until that time, you have to wait. You have to bear that cost of testing. So you have to test here before you board. You have to test when you get down, or you go to quarantine for a week or 2 week or 10 days or 3 week, depending on that country's policy. So you need to decide based on what is the situation in that particular country.
So now talking about India, many institutions are like they are going to open by the end of the November. It is basically for the higher education. The higher educations are, so what measures they are required to take so that the institution once it start, it doesn't close. Just if the, because we have seen that many schools are opening in the east, in the US and UK also schools have opened and then they closed again because some of the COVID came up. So what are your advices to those higher institutions? What measures should be taken?
Uh, Whether you open the school or you have at home, you must practice SMS. SMS is social distancing, mask, and sanitization. Now, if the schools say a classroom has a 50 children and you cannot have that 6 feet gap between two children, then you cannot run that class. Maybe what you'll have to do is you have to run the classes into two different shifts. Like one class is between 8 to 12 and other classes between 12 to 4. So by that way, your strength of the children is 50%. So you need to devise your own strategy. Maybe you have to go back to the olden days when they used to have a school in open ground below the tree. That is one of the safest thing to do. So in classroom, there must be cross ventilation. Fan should be on. Air conditioned atmosphere is not good for school. From air condition, the infection can spread. So low cost school, which are fan and window open, they are the best schools currently, rather than the high end schools where which are completely air conditioned. And thirdly, you need to have a policy, because here is not a boarding school that the child has come there and going to stay there. For boarding school is very easy. You make a policy of testing before the child is coming. In between, you can do a test, say after 7 or 8 days to take care of that window period. But thereafter, there is no need of testing because nobody else from outside is coming. Not the child is going anywhere else. But if the child is a day scholar, going from home to school, school to home again, traveling through public bus or through car or through carpooling, so all these are multiple risk factors at different stages, and the children have a habit of going to buy something from the vendor. So at every stage you need to have policies that you won't allow vendor. You have a bus driver or cleaner or conductor which is already screened. In the bus it is social distancing is maintained. Buses are not air conditioned, they are window open. So you need to look at lot of things before you open up, because it's not your welfare of a child. Here is the welfare of a whole family, because the child may go scot free, may get infected, may not get sick, may not die, but the child brings infection to the family, give to parents or grandparents, and they would be sick because of comorbidities like diabetes or obesity or asthma or some other infection in family, and they get COVID and they get sick immediately. The child may not be sick. So child can be just a messenger of contracting infection from one place, taking it to another place, giving it to them, and back and forth. If the family somebody is infected, then bring the infection from there and bring it to a lot of children or a lot of teachers or servants working in the school. So you need to make those policies.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I just want to know, we have seen that lesser number of cases are coming for the children. The more prone cases are coming for the adults. Why is it so? What's the trend?
No, no. See, cases are coming in all categories. Only thing is that there are, by and large, 80% people are asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means they get virus, but they get no symptom or only one symptom, like just little headache or little fever or little sore throat or some cough and goes away. Now, currently in my clinic, I run a HIV clinic. In that HIV clinic, we are doing COVID test for all the HIV patients coming in. We are finding 25 to 30% of them are antibody positive. That means they already had COVID in last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, sometime. They did not know. They had no symptom. They did not report to me, nor they told to anybody that they had any symptom. So they just recovered automatically. So what that can be also policy in the school. Those children which are antibody positive, number one, they will not get infection from others. Number two, they will not give infection to others. Number three, they will not require a vaccine if at all vaccine comes. So those children can be safe to come to the school or go from school to the home. So rather than doing only COVID testing, which is a when they talk COVID testing, that means they talk either antigen test or RT-PCR test. That is on swab. And on blood, one drop the test is done, which is called rapid antibody test. So along with those talked about antigen and RT-PCR test, you must also do antibody test. In antibody test, particularly in the countries or in the cities or in the towns where a lot of people are already infected, where infectivity is say 20%, 30% already. In that situation, you'll be highly benefited by doing those testing for those children which are already antibody positive. Antibody positive, they are no risk to themselves, no risk to others.
Okay, thanks, sir. Sir, one more thing I would like to share, ask from you. There is a stigma developed among the people regarding COVID-19. Many people who get affected by this COVID-19, even that they know that they have gotten affected by this COVID-19, they don't disclose it. I don't know what the stigma is there. Can you please guide them that if there is something like they should share the news so others won't get affected?
You see, if people don't disclose, that is not their fault. They have gone through a lot of literature, viewership, or TV screen programs, or in WhatsApp messages, and there is a lot of stigma and discrimination attached to COVID-19. Not so much only to patient, but is also to dead bodies of COVID patients. People were not there to perform the last rites, either cremation or funeral. So if that kind of situation is there, people don't want to reveal. Secondly, everywhere the whole epidemic is not driven as a healthcare epidemic. It is driven as a police epidemic. The moment somebody comes to know that in this building or in this flat somebody is positive, they come out and put up containment zone or some banner or some barricade. So that whole community comes to know that, oh, in this room or in this home somebody is COVID positive. Is that person a criminal? He is a patient. And nobody who has got COVID has got by his own act. Maybe somebody coughed, maybe somebody sneezed it, and he got it from there. So we need to destigmatize such epidemics. In that situation, what is required by you, me, and everybody, whether the person is COVID positive or not, you should be wearing mask. You should be wearing, having social distancing. You should be washing hands frequently. You should be avoiding touching your eyes, nose, mouth. So if you do that, whether a COVID person come or non-COVID person come, it doesn't matter to you.
Yes, exactly. If we will be following the precautions, the other will automatically follow them. It won't be a stigma to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Like I'm not a COVID specialist. I'm a HIV specialist. But there is nobody COVID specialist. There is no COVID degree, MD COVID or so and so degree in COVID. Because a new infection. So all infectious disease people who are managing other infections like tuberculosis or HIV or SARS or H1N1, they can manage COVID. So what I last 6 months, I'm seeing my patients. I cannot tell my patient not to come. And as I told you, 25 to 30% of them are already antibody positive. If they had come to me 6 months back, they were already COVID infected. I had seen them, but I practice uh, mask and head shield. When patient is coming, I use a head shield. So same thing can be done in traveling in local or metro trains. You people use, everybody uses mask and head shield. You cannot get infected. It's 99% safe by doing two things. If you are using only mask, you are 90 to 95% safe.
Okay. So if one person is wearing the mask and other is not wearing, so what are the chances of contracting the disease?
See, if one person is wearing mask, it depends on what mask. Is an ordinary mask. A lot of people say gamcha, sadi ka pallo,
Thank
hijab.
you, is there.
So it depends on that. And secondly, if suppose the person is not wearing a proper mask, only rumal,
Yes.
so that person can protect you. Because if suppose he is coughing or sneezing, that sneezer doesn't come to you. So you are protected. But that person is not protected. So if you are not using a proper mask, you are not protected. Because if that person is already coughed somewhere and those droplets have come, they can travel through the rumal, they can travel through gamcha, they can travel through uh, cloth which are not mask. So if you have a mask, that should be three-layered mask. That should be mask protective to you and to the other person. So both parties should be protected. So there's a lot of ifs and buts. And despite that, you go somewhere for eating, you are taking out mask. So you are risking there yourself. So that risk is there. But you know what happens is eating, suppose the risk, if you calculate the risk parameters by keeping mouth closed, the risk is say 1%. I'm not using percent, risk is 1. By eating, when you open the mouth, risk is 10. By singing, you are opening wide mouth, risk is 100. By coughing, risk is 1000. By sneezing, the risk is 2000, 4000. So it depends on 1000 to 4000. So what any infection depends on transmission. Infection depends how much transmission can be done is depend on how many viruses you are going to throw. So it's called inoculum of infection. If inoculum is more, more infection chances. If inoculum is low, low infection chances.
Okay, so what I got from you is hanky and all these are not the proper measure to safeguard. No.
If you don't have anything, only for that emergency purpose you can use hanky. Or if you are not masked, you have sneezing or cough, you do in your elbow. So you are not creating a lot of droplets in nearby area. But if you are not person who is sneezing, you are a person passerby. So anybody is coughing or sneezing, you go from a distance. Because what happens is why we said 6 feet distance. A lot of things go up to 3 feet. Less things goes up to 6 feet, and very rarely things go beyond 6 feet. So 6 feet, if you are maintaining a distance, then you are protecting yourself to 95%. Similarly, if you are using a proper mask, you are protecting yourself 95%. But if you are doing both mask and social distancing, you are protecting the most. Therefore, what we are asking, if at all this epidemic is governed by authorities, run by authorities, what authorities should do, every country have their own rules. They made already rule of making using mask compulsory, social distancing compulsory, but they are not implemented. So you start charging fine to people. If suppose you see in a crowd, people are not maintaining social distance, fine is X. If the person is not using mask, fine is another X. But if the person is neither using mask nor social distancing, fine is not 2X, 10X, because that person is endangering life of other people. So only with that kind of law and implementation, we can control epidemic.
Yes,
Otherwise,
sir.
we cannot control.
Yes, sir. It's money is more dear to people than their lives.
Yeah.
This is what is observed. Okay. Yes, sir. So what I think is, sir, in order to protect ourselves as to stop the spread of the disease, one should be wearing the proper mask.
Yeah.
Yes, the N95 one that are recommended.
See, N95 is mainly for medical community.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a surgical mask, which is called medical mask or surgical mask is the same. It's a 3-layered mask. That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
N95 is required for medical community because we are with the patients.
Okay.
The patient is coughing. I cannot stop patient not to come there. I have to enter the ward. So that N95 mask is a fitting at nose. It's completely covered from nose to chin, completely covered, and doesn't allow any aerosol to enter, any surface to enter. But at the same time, suppose we are going to do other procedures apart from seeing patient, we have to use head shield, so double mask, double protection. But for general people, you can use a kind of a 3-layered mask. That is good enough.
Okay, sir. Next is, sir, sorry, for the N95 marks was there. Next was there, what about the vaccinations? Are they coming soon? Do you have any idea about that?
Which one?
No, sir, vaccinations. Are they coming? Because we were expecting some announcement at the time of Independence Day also, but nothing came up.
Okay.
And then medicines.
See, vaccine is going to come, but it may take time. It may take another 6 months or 8 months also. The recent announcement by the Health Minister of India is that by July it will be for common use. But before that, healthcare workers, emergency staff, maybe police personnel, so those which are frontline workers, they will get vaccine earlier. Again, number two, we do not know whether vaccine will be 50% successful, 60% successful, or 70% successful. Vaccine is not going to be 100% successful. Number three, we do not know whether one dose is enough or second dose is also required. So all these are if and but. So even if vaccine is going to come, there is no holiday for SMS.
Mask sanitizer.
This
is good. SMS is easy to remember.
Even if you are using WhatsApp,
yes,
there is no holiday for SMS. That short servicing messages are different. This SMS is different.
But it's easy to remember. SMS, just follow SMS. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sir, we talked about the mask also. So I just like to know about the reusable masks. Many masks are there in the market, not reusable, like we can wash them and then we reuse them. How effective are they?
India is a culture which is wash and wear. We cannot use and throw. So it's not wear and tear culture, wash and wear. So use good masks. There are a lot of masks which are can be washed and wear. No problem. Up to 6 months it goes on.
They can go. Nothing to go. Nothing wrong with its effectiveness. It will be as effective as any other mask.
What happens is effectiveness will be definitely less than N95. But you are not going to be treating patient. No? You are not in hospital. You are not in laboratory. You are not in clinic. You are not around patient. So you know, suppose you have a patient at home. One of your relative is infected. Then maybe you can use N95 mask. Maybe that patient can wear N95 mask so that others are protected. So it depends on what is the situation. But generally, if you're going to market, if you're going to school or college or public transport, general mask we are using, washable mask we are using is fine. But Rumal is not mask.
Rumal is not mask. Yes, right, sir. Rumal is not mask. Now, Sir, next is about, I would like to know about the school institutions. If they open, you told that there should be proper ventilation should be there, fan should be there, AC should not be there, right? But are there any recommendations on that? Should they be opened?
No. See, you cannot close the whole world for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You have to work. And though from home education is happening, work from home is
Yes.
happening, but still at some point of time you need to assemble. So you see, uh, teachers will have to overwork. How they will have to overwork? Because you have to have a social distancing in class. Rather than 5 day school, you keep 7 day school, and you keep 4 days. One batch of children, 3 days other batch of children. You keep in the school two different timings in a day. So that way, if you make planning properly, things can be done. In the school also, you have sometimes yoga class, gymnastic class, or physical training class. So you plan in such a way that you are using your timetable in such a way that everywhere there is a social distancing. So for those children which are doing a physical training, their class is utilized by the remaining children of neighboring class. They can make split into one and half, one and one.
No, sir, since online classes have already started and students are doing good too. Children are learning at home through their schools, so no issue with that. But I just wanted to know, is it good enough for the schools to keeping in mind the small children, like the first graders, second graders, as compared to the college level students?
See, currently, preschool children, no, because they can't use mask. You cannot make a compulsion on mask on them. But as the children grow older, they have a develop a habit of using mask. Those children you can take. You cannot have 100% only from home education. You have to also think of the psychology of children, which are stuck at home for last 6 months, 7 months. There are a lot of aggression in children is happening. A lot of psychological problems are happening. A lot of depression is happening. So, and parents are not able to cope up. They are not able to understand. So once the children are stuck at home, one of the parent, if there are two parents, they're stuck at home. They cannot work. So there is a lot of economy involved, psychology involved, social things involved, the day-to-day demography involved. So a lot of things are involved. So you need to take care of all those in mind. And secondly, if you keep all the education from home, people will not pay you the fee they are paying for school. You'll say, no, we are at home, we are just on online. Why should we pay so much fee? So your economy will go down. Then your authorities will say, you don't need a building, vacate the building. So all those issues will crop up. You need to decide strategy where is a win-win for all. At the same time, Corona is not going to go away. It initially thought 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then thought 2 to 3 months. Now we are thinking 2 to 3 years. So it will not go away. But what will happen is people will start behaving like you see the eastern part of the world. Their infection is so less. They have a habit of using mask, and they had a habit of using mask before Corona. So you go to Vietnam or Thailand or Cambodia or Taiwan, they are already using mask for before Corona. So now 100%, earlier only 30% were using mask. But in India, we were never using mask. So we have come to level of 30-40%. We need to reach to 70-80%, 80%, 90%. We cannot think of 100% because there are people who will not listen. But you start finding them, that will become deterrent for them to go without mask anywhere.
Yes, sir. So we need to inculcate the habit of wearing mask and staying safe. Then only the life will move on. And yes, you're right, sir. Life is not going to stop. Just the mode of operation changes, the way of operation changes, but life goes on. Yes, sir. Earlier we have on-campus classes. Now we have online classes.
You see, like barring face, we have been covering body, we are covering the lower part, we're covering mouth. You have
Yes,
to
sir.
see, new normal is what? Up till now, lot of people in a lot of countries, they wear only half the clothes. Or they are also on the beaches, they are in bikini. So, but in culturally appropriate country, we wear a lot of clothes. So we
Right.
are adding one more strip of cloth. That's it.
Yes, sir. Nowadays everyone is using the mask. When we go out, we see people more with mask. So
And
mask
that
is
not
everywhere.
the whole area is not even 1% of your body.
Yes, sir. And
So why so much hassle with wearing mask?
Is the rate of infection
yes, sir.
in kids.
Okay, so the rate of infection is lower in kids, is it so?
It's going down. It's going down.
It's good.
In last 1 month,
Uh-huh.
say around 15, 16 September, we had a peak, and thereafter it is going down. Every day it is going down.
Sir, it's my general opinion, not just what we have observed that kids are going outside more. Like parents are going out for everything. Kids are staying at home only. So is it the reason for the lower cases?
No, no, no. You see, what happens is basically you understand one thing.
Uh-huh.
There's something called symbiosis.
Uh-huh.
Any infection which comes,
Mhm.
the infection per se doesn't want to kill everybody, every human being. If everybody human being is killed, the infection will not survive. The infectious organism will not survive. So only there are some infections like Ebola or what do you call
Staff?
hydrophobia. Uh, they only limited. The person comes within 3 4 days, person dies, and the infection and person all finish. But all other infections, the infectious organism has to survive, and for them to survive, even human beings has to survive. Number one. Number two, initially we didn't know much of COVID, so we were losing a lot of people. They were dying. Now we know how to manage them. Which patient should be admitted, which patient should not be admitted, which patient can be treated from home, which patient require ICU or ventilator. So if we have made that kind of arrangement, then those people who were dying unnecessarily earlier, they're not dying anymore. Thirdly, the virulence of the organism. Organism was very much virulent earlier. Now it has come down. So all those issues, if you look at the actual death rate from corona is around 1.5% total death,
Yes.
out of which 70% are dying because of comorbidity, like diabetes, like asthma, like cancer, like other things. So only 0.5, 0.6% people are dying of corona. So we cannot be so much scared of it. We have to take out that fear or scare from the mind. But schools cannot decide on their own. The whole authority has to decide. Government have to decide. Society has to decide. And when we are opening, like closing is very easy.
Yes, sir.
Like up order, we close everything. So opening, there are so many phases. So they call unlock one, unlock two. This is now unlock six going on now.
Yes, sir.
So uh, everything closing is difficult. Opening is difficult.
So, sir,
Closing is not difficult. Opening is.
yes, sir. So if schools are going to open, it will be in the phase-wise manner.
And
Like
phase that.
opening, and it will be in the, like we have this higher education, then the lower education, the middle class, and the
Higher
juniors.
education can keep a night school.
Yes.
You can call the 8th or 9th or 10th standard student for night. Night school may not be whole night, but 6 o'clock
Something.
till 11 o'clock in the night. When I was in 10th standard, we used to do night school.
Mhm. Yes, sir. I get this point. And sorry for taking too much of your time, sir. But last one point is there. So just it is about the students. I asked you in the beginning also about going abroad, and you said it's going good to go to Vietnam and Taiwan where there is lower cases, right? But what about those who want to go to Australia, US, or like they have started online classes here and want to go later?
That's what I told you.
Uh-huh.
You're going to any country depends not on you. It depends on that country's policy.
Mm-hmm.
Australians or New Zealanders said that we will not take anybody from outside. You cannot go there. Number two, if they have a policy of keeping you in quarantine for 14 days, we'll have to follow that policy. So you have to go by what that country's policy is there. And secondly, you should also think of uncertainties. Suppose at present we are seeing a lot of second spike in European countries.
Yes, sir.
So if your child is going to Europe and
Mhm.
suppose the child lands up there and within 10 days all flights close and the child says school closed, college closed, flights are closed, what do I do now here? So you cannot go and fetch the child cannot come on your own. So you need to look at all those issues, contingency. Like sometimes during the monsoon weather, we look at weather forecast. Should we step out or you don't step out?
Right.
You have to look at COVID forecast. what can happen in that country? What can happen in that city? Australia is fine, New Zealand is fine, East is fine. But if you look at West, you look at Latin America, whole Latin America, if you barring US, India, and Russia, all countries in the order are from Latin America. Whether you talk about Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Mexico, Argentina, they're all very bad. Whatever numbers are tests are done, 20-25% of them are positive. So you cannot think of going to that country. So you need to look at which country you can choose, which country you can go. Then after you choosing, you look at that country's policy. And then
Yes, right. Yes, we cannot decide we want to go there and we can go there. It all depends on the COVID cases and the country's policies regarding their students. No, sir. Yes, my question is answered because I was about to ask, like the Ukraine has opened its border for the students, international students. So again, it depends on the student. First, he is likely to understand the COVID cases there, and then he will, if it likes, he can go there.
Like there's a policy of Malaysia. Nobody from outside can come to Malaysia. Nobody from Malaysia can step out of the country. What can you do? You want to educate in Malaysia? You cannot go.
That's right. Thank you, sir. That was all from my side, and thank you. Thank you for this wonderful session, for throwing some light on the COVID. It was very wonderful, actually. There is many confusion among the people regarding the mask, whether to go abroad, what measures should we take to protect ourselves, when the school will open, if the school open, what will be the scenario. Thank you for putting the light on everything, sir. Thank you.
Look at our admin. Even on webinar, he's wearing a mask.
Thank you, Dr. Gilada. Dr. Gilada, thank you so very much for your time. Much appreciated. And as always, it is always good to hear you. Every time we hear you, there's something new that to learn from you. Means a lot for all of us to be, to be witness to such important conversations we had today. And I'm sure a lot of students and a lot of teachers, a lot of universities who have heard you today, they must have gained a lot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gilada, again for all your time. Much appreciated, sir.
And as Dr. Gilada mentioned that by wearing a mask, you are protecting yourself as well as the others.
So, Dr. Gilada, I was following SMS. So, and that's one of the things SMS I was following here.
No, that was a very good message by him, SMS. So now the children will easily remember that SMS. We need to follow SMS.
That's what I said, no, Meena, that every time we interact with Dr. Gilada, we learn something new.
You make every child a corona warrior. You make every child a police. If anybody is not wearing mask, let the child ask that person, Uncle, you are not wearing mask. Uncle, you are not wearing mask. What happens is when a person of my age or even 25, 30-year-old goes somewhere and a young child is asking, you are not wearing mask, that person will feel very bad. He will think that he is really doing something wrong. If I tell him, they will not listen. But if the child tells, they will listen. So
yes.
Make all children corona warrior.
Yes, I guess that after this session, my kids will be asking me, Mama, please wear a mask because I stop while going on the walk. I don't wear. So they will be asking me to wear a mask because your session was very wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gilada, again. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I think it was a very, very meaningful talk. Very meaningful talk, sir. I'm sure a lot of people can relate with this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this talk, sir. Thank you very much for this informative talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste, sir. Thank you.